everybody, welcome back. It's Christine again with the Artist Pod, and today we'll be talking about how to sketch a fox. As always, I'm using a Wacom Intuos Pro tablet and I'm drawing straight into Photoshop. So, let's get arting. So, this is, the standard canvas. I typically do, for anyone who doesn't know, haven't watched me for a while, I do 15 by 18 inches typically at 300, DPI or, 300 pixels. And I typically work with a brush size set to 15, hard round brush. Today, though, I wanted to talk about, if you're sketching something, everything has a shape to it. I don't talk about it enough when I'm sketching, but everything has a shape to it. And so I thought it'd be, a good idea to sort of show those shapes and what they could turn into. Now, typically I would sketch it. But for the first circle, I'm actually going to use the elliptic key tool. It's just going to be a little easier, right? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do just sort of a circle, maybe a little smaller, since we'll be drawing an animal, specifically a fox. And then I'm going to add the stroke to it. So there we go. So we're going to start with our circle. Now, if we take a line right through the center, roughly, right through the center. Oh, that's a bad center. It's also a bad center, but that's all right. That works, right? Now, we're going to do a couple more circles because we're going to do this as a fox, right? So we're going to have some circles coming out. Well, let's do the chin circle first. So we're going to come out a little circle here. We're going to want this to be centered as well. We're going to do the same thing. Stroke. Right? So this is going to look crazy at first. We're going to do circles basically, the foxes have those little flumps. Flumps? Oh, it's a good enough word. On the sides of their face, so we're going to do that. We want that kind of to run in towards the middle. Maybe a little bit more. Like that. And we're going to do stroke, and then drag it over. Do roughly the same thing on this side. Right. Stroke. Okay. And then we're going to come in with the polygonal lasso tool, and we're going to create two triangles. Right. So roughly here, we want a triangle to come up and then down. This isn't exactly where the ears are going to be, but right, usually kind of on the top of the head. You want it roughly in the same spot. Same thing, up and then down. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a stroke. Alright, so then we have the eyes. Flip that back. So now I'm going to take the hard round brush tool, right? If I extend this down, and then this down, kind of the edge of the eyes, which is nice. So you have this nice triangle, and we have the front of the eyes. We're going to do another triangle, right? So triangle, roughly same spot, triangle. Right, that's contained in one layer. So now, if I'm trying to make sense of this, right, I have the eyes. Right, so if we take that off, we have our eyes coming in. And that's just in between, the edge triangle here and the front triangle here. We have, the nose, And you're just gonna, as you draw the nose, it's gonna swoop. You're gonna have a line coming down and then a little semicircle. And then two little semicircles inside that. You're gonna have the mouth coming down, right? We're gonna follow that center line and have the mouth coming up where the edge of it is, right? So if I take this off, that's how we're looking now. And we have the chin. I think that chin's coming down. And we have the head extending off into what will be, you know, the extra fur for the fox. Not quite furry enough, but we can get there. This will give us the first basic shape. Right, and then we can kind of go from there. And we have the head coming up. And the ears, which won't be this sharp. It'll be a little bit more rounded. The tip will be rounded. And as we come down, there's a swoop in the ear. And of course we have the top. So if I take all of that off, you know, we have the rough shape for an animal. And then we would refine it, right? So we know the chin of the fox will come up like that. And then we have, you know, the actual like way the fox fur kind of comes out. Same thing on this side. We know that some of this fox fur, how that's going to kind of come out. We can erase some of this. And then, you know, adjust this as needed. Give it a grin, do whatever. And then usually I have the eyebrows coming up. And if I were doing a fox, you know, you'd have the white and the orange separating, right? So I'm going to come straight up off the nose, come back down to connect back with this, back up, and then cutting that a bit before so the orange remains behind, but then coming back down into the bottom of the mouth. Same thing over here, right? I'm going to come up, come back down, almost like I'm making like another triangle, back up, and then sort of swoop down by the eye, and then cut around. Now, of course, right, each side isn't balanced, so I would need to do some more refinement, but you know, if ever you're trying to draw anything, you can just do this, right? Circle. This can also work, you know, you might have to adjust depending on what you're drawing as far as like how far the cheeks are coming out. This is a fox, so they're particularly flary, but that could work for like a cartoon cat. When you do it, just make sure you include the chin, and then, you know, I'm bridging that gap, right? If I put this over top, you can see that I've bridged where this goes. So it's not like an independent line, right? Like I'm not, this doesn't come all the way up because this is where the cheeks stop, this first circle. So you start with the circle, you have a line halfway through across, halfway through vertically, you put the chin in, the cheeks in, the triangles for the ears. Depending on your angle, if you've done it right, if you're uncertain about what to do, for that, you can kind of see that I extended this, right? And I know I did it after. You could do it before. If you're more comfortable going, you know, this is the edge of my eye, I can bring this straight up for my ear and then back down, just make sure you're clear into the head Same thing on this side. Same concept, right? Because you don't want it to, you know, the head doesn't have a lot of space between the ears. Not typically. And then wherever your inside of your eyes is, you know, another triangle there, and that triangle forms the top of the nose. You could also, you know, do another triangle here for the bottom of the nose, right? If I'm here and then here, so right where this connected, right? If I take you off, right where this connected that horizontal line, come back down, connect it back with that vertical, and you have the bottom of the nose. So that's one way to get the basic shape of an animal. If you're uncertain, you know, you just draw a few shapes. Or as you're looking at animals, think about what shapes they're creating in order to draw, you know, a finished sketch, and kind of go from there. So for a fox, I'm actually going to come up a bit higher on this, on his. Right, so that this is not nearly as far down. Point still remains, right? If I take this off, should look more, yeah, more fox-like. So you can pull that up. You can definitely see now it's really starting to look more fox-like. So those small adjustments after you have something in place like this, you know, are really what are going to help drive the animal and the drawing. But, you know, you have that sort of general shape. You can push in and out as needed. You know, I can pull this in here, have a thinner head shape before it pushes out. Like, all of that is fine and will help add to the shape of the fox, but it all starts with that general idea, that shape, that circle of the head, and then the additional shapes, the circles here, the circle of the mouth, that sort of come out of that. You could even, you know, readjust the angle of the ears, or, you know, this doesn't have to come down quite so far. Maybe it could come up this way, and same, you know, with this one, or, you know, however it is. You know, once you have it, there you get kind of the inside ear in place, or, you know, you once you have the basic shape, you can really start creating the rest of it. Alright, so that's how you sketch a fox. I hope that was helpful. In the Floating Nether next theme, I have other videos of art tutorials I have done, and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much. Take care.